Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a crazy year for Fallout modding with the events of the infamous Frontier. I have covered them extensively, playlist in the description section down below if you want to catch up on it. But today's situation involves a Fallout 4 mod, Fallout 4 New Vegas. A Fallout 4 mod which seeks to recreate Fallout New Vegas in the Fallout 4 engine. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Fallout 4 New Vegas has had an altercation with TKs-Mantis. This happened within a Bethesda-run Discord server, where multiple people dogpiled onto TKs-Mantis, accusing him of being a troublemaker, stating that he'd been banned from the Discords of several Fallout modding projects.
I was getting a lot of personal attacks, and then somebody's like, "You've been banned from multiple mods," and I was like, "What are you referring to? You know, like I've been banned from one mod, the Frontier." And they went on to say, well, what about Fallout 4 New Vegas? And I said, well, I'm not banned from Fallout 4 New Vegas. I'm in the cast of Fallout 4 New Vegas. The reason I said I'm in the cast of Fallout 4 New Vegas is because the only conversation that I've ever had with anybody associated with Fallout 4 New Vegas was when I was doing lines for the Frontier. So that long ago, we're talking over 6 months ago, maybe even over 8 months ago, when I was actually recording the lines for the Frontier. Another team I was talking to, because they were also looking for people, at least fans of the mods and fans of mine who intersected, were pointing me in the right direction, and I was talking to the right people about playing the king in Fallout 4 New Vegas. The reason that this had picked up is because I had done Elvis impressions, I had sang songs on stream and stuff like that, and people that were fans of mine thought it was good. They thought it was good, and they were like, oh, you should, do that for Fallout 4 New Vegas. You should just be the voice of the king.
When Mantis stated that he was only aware of being banned from the Frontier, another person in the chat informed him that he had been banned from the Discord server of Fallout 4 New Vegas, which he had no knowledge of. Mantis would then go on to state a statement that he perceived to be true, a statement that he believed to be grounded in fact. He stated that he was a voiceover artist in Fallout 4 New Vegas and was doing a role for them within their mod.
But apparently, this person's telling me I'm banned. So I said, I'm in the cast of Fallout 4 New Vegas. I immediately realized that I had made a mistake because I was like, well, I guess I'm not. But regardless, one of the team leads, I assume he's a team lead, and I will touch on that in a second because I can't confirm that because I'm banned from their server, so I can't go in there and check his roles or anything like that. But he came in to tell me that I am not associated with their project in any way.
Following this, a Fallout 4 New Vegas Discord moderator stated that Mantis was not involved with their mod. Having seen that statement, I view it as something similar to the sort of statements made online by big companies that seek to distance themselves from YouTubers that they've decided that they don't like. TKs-Mantis was understandably quite confused by this, being under the impression that he was a member of the staff for the mod, so he reached out to the Discord moderator who had mentioned that in the chat.
So I sent him a DM because he was pretty much confirming that I was in fact banned from Fallout 4 New Vegas. So I was a bit surprised when I was like, what do you mean I'm banned? So I sent him a DM. And in this DM, he sent me the reason on why I was banned. And the reason I know at this point that I'm banned is because I tried to join their server and it said, invite failed, invite failed, invite failed. And I was like, what the fuck? It's not even telling me like any reasons, but this must be true. I must be banned from it. You were removed from our server from our project lead, Metamoth. Never even talked to that guy, never even heard of this person, for contributing to the drama surrounding the Frontier situation. And here's what it says. Ban reason. Weaponization of a community for the sake of self-aggrandizing is despicable. We have zero interest in having even informal ties with somebody engaging in acts of this kind and refuse to enable such blatant parasitism. So they're calling me a parasite, which is lovely.
And then the moderator gloatingly told him that due to what had happened between TKs-Mantis and the Frontier, that he was removed from Fallout 4 New Vegas' Discord server. His weaponization of a community for the sake of self-aggrandizing is despicable. They have zero interest in having even informal ties with somebody engaging in acts of this kind, and they refuse to enable such blatant parasitism. Ladies and gentlemen, from my own point of view, anyone who thinks that YouTubers weaponize their communities, people who say that are idiots. Idiots who have absolutely no concept of how social interaction works.
I have never weaponized any community ever. I can sit here in every video I ever make, I can post till I'm blue in the face on my Discord. If I have a beef with something, if I have a beef with somebody, do not harass them. Don't go over there with the intent to fucking white knight for me. Moist Critical says it all the time, but he has a billion edgelords that just go and do whatever the hell they want. You can't control what people do on the internet, and you can't control having a beef with somebody. Oh, but you could not talk about it. That's not in my nature. Not talking about it is not in my nature. So I'm sorry if you look at that as a weaponization of a community. Not only that, with the Frontier stuff, they were claiming that I was too big to be picking on them, while also claiming that they were bigger than me, so they were just gonna squash me. So like, which is it? You know what I mean? Which community has been weaponized when this follows me around everywhere I go? What community has been weaponized? And when we move even further on into the ban reason, we have zero interest in even having informal ties with somebody engaging in acts of this kind. You're complacent with the mods of Fallout Frontier, creating fucking alt accounts and fucking dislike bombing videos, going into comments and fucking totally trashing people. I'm not the only victim of this too. I have at least fucking 5 people, smaller YouTubers than me most of the time, that just got fucking lambasted because they didn't suck the Frontier's dick. So you're complacent with that, but you're not okay with my parasitism of me talking about that publicly. It's not okay for me to talk about it publicly, but it's okay for them to do it. But if I talk about it, then I'm the parasite. I'm the fucking piece of shit.
Ladies and gentlemen, people do whatever they want. In fact, Mantis openly speaks out against community weaponization and bans and distances himself from people who try to engage in such behaviours. Ladies and gentlemen, if you think that a YouTuber can weaponize an entire community to go out and do things, you are sorely mistaken. In fact, YouTubers find it extremely difficult to even get their communities to be able to watch their videos, with the YouTube notification system bell being as broken as it is. If a YouTuber has great difficulty in getting people to watch their own videos, what makes you think that they will then be able to create, what, a massive army? A secret army? To go and attack people you don't like? Do not be so delusional. People who make statements like that, ladies and gentlemen, about the weaponization of communities are idiots. Or, at the very least, severely socially inept and unaware of how human beings actually work. Each human being on the planet having a form of brain inside their head that enables them to pretty much do whatever they want. As for parasitism, Mantis covers Fallout news and info on his channel. Would they say the same thing about the gaming press? Or the press in general? Would they say that BBC News is a parasite? Would they say that CNN is a parasite? MSNBC, whatever other news network you want to insert there. The Press and Journal, a parasitic newspaper? This, as they call it, parasitism, as they would deem it, is TKs-Mantis exercising his protected constitutional right to his freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and fair use news reporting, and referring to him as a parasite for exercising his own rights, I would say, is despicable. Rude, unprofessional, and uncalled for. The devs and mod team from the Frontier openly abused, bullied, and harassed, as well as gaslit Mantis in regards to his voice acting roles, at a time that he was suffering from a physical illness. However, the developers of Fallout 4 New Vegas seem to, just as the Frontier did before them, have a dislike of YouTubers who, quite simply, talk the truth about their game mods in YouTube videos and cover the news. Just a little bit of a thought and opinion here, ladies and gentlemen, but maybe instead of blocking, banning, harassing, abusing and brigading against YouTubers, maybe these mod makers should all make peace with them. Have YouTubers assist your mod. Assistance from a promotion and public relations standpoint. What I see here from the mod authors of Fallout 4 New Vegas are people who have no idea how to communicate, ladies and gentlemen. You don't want Mantis voicing in your project. Tell him that. You're banning him from your socials because you don't like him. Well, tell him that. Communication. Ever heard of it? He's a reasonable and communicative man. You should have talked to him. Instead, you simply cut him off altogether and left him to make statements where he ended up with egg on his face because Fallout 4 New Vegas doesn't know how to communicate and talk to people. This is very much like the Frontier, who had issues with communicating with people, only being able to communicate through hate. But I digress. We'll get to the Frontier in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Mantis would then take to Twitter to once again exercise his rights of free speech and discuss what had just happened with the Discord server. His tweets drew the attention of Fallout 4 New Vegas, who made a very lengthy post on Reddit regarding. From Fallout 4 New Vegas dev team, a response May 19th, 2021. Before we get into this post, it's important to talk about the unusual language at use here. We should not mince words. We have zero interest in giving the subject of this post any further attention, but at the same time find ourselves forced to respond to their allegations. With that being the case, our team will not be naming this individual. Given that they actively profit from the outrage they have stirred up, we have no interest in allowing them to quite literally make money off of the harassment of our team members and attacks on our community. Please accept our sincerest apologies if this language seems a bit strange to you as a result. We should also note that this is the only post we will be making about the situation. Note, apart from all the stuff they said on Twitter, as we have no desire to provide this content creator with further fodder for clickbait. Note, clickbait does not work on YouTube. The YouTube algorithm does not reward clickbait, it rewards watch time. Source, Derral Eves, The YouTube Formula. It's a book. Ever heard of them? Before you start making accusations about YouTubers, might I suggest you learn a little bit about YouTube as a platform and how it operates and how it works before you start layering out harassment and attacks against people for literally no reason, Fallout 4 New Vegas. Anyway, we apologise if this leaves some questions unanswered, but we've attempted to be as comprehensive as possible. Now, with all that out of the way, let's get into this information proper. As many of you are no doubt aware, a minor content creator announced today that we had elected to remove them from our community some months ago. Having learned of this after a member of our moderation staff stepped in and questioned their claims of being a voice actor on our project. Following the posting of fabricated information of dubious origin, alleging that this information was from the moderator in question, the content creator also then indicated that they were going to put our project on blast and alluded to the fact that the reason for their removal from our community was due to their refusal to be complacent with borderline illegal content in another mod project. Unfortunately, as is the norm for this content creator in situations such as this is almost entirely a fabrication. The YouTuber in question has a long-standing history of driving traffic to their channel via the use of controversy and outrage. Ladies and gentlemen, I press X to doubt. Long-standing history. I wouldn't exactly call 2 or 3 videos over the course of their entire YouTube career, which at this stage I'd want to say spans for almost a decade. Having seen them have 2 issues with other content creators during that time, I do not think that Mantis' channel is rooted in controversy and outrage. Often fabricated. Ladies and gentlemen, the issues with the Frontier were most definitely not fabricated. The issues with Oxhorn copyright striking creators, something that was proven by a large YouTuber by the name of The Right Opinion when he spoke to YouTube regarding proven truths are not fabrications. Indeed, a quick examination shows that their entire channel is effectively fueled by this kind of content. Once again, I press X to doubt. If you have a look at Mantis' channel as a whole, controversial topics only have a minority amongst all of the videos that he's produced, with the vast majority of their videos receiving 3 to 30 times fewer views than their other videos focused on the aforementioned controversy or outrage. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a statistic that Fallout 4 New Vegas has, quite frankly, pulled out of their rectum. It is not an exaggeration to state that this content creator often relies on shock and outrage to make money, and thus is best served by seeking out or involving themselves in situations where these things are present or able to be stoked. This information has been provided not to attack this content creator's work output, but to provide context for what will follow in this posting. Fallout 4 New Vegas' context is, quite frankly, defamation written. As stated, 2 incidents in the space of a massive YouTube career is in no way often relying on shock and outrage to make money. Once again, Fallout 4 New Vegas here is taking information out of their rectums, information that they have produced in their own stomachs. First, we should address some misinformation that this content creator has been spreading. This content creator has never had any involvement with our team, has never had internal contact with our team, and has never produced any voice acting for our team. We do have an audition on file that had been submitted by this content creator. However, we chose to pass as we felt their work was not what we were looking for at the time. Such applications are made utilizing a submission form that provides no direct contact with our team, and this individual's dialogue with us begins and ends with the sending of their submission. My note on this would be, you need to adjust your processes. Communication. Talk to the people. Tell them if you're not going to use their stuff. Say, sorry, better luck next time, or sorry, jog on, or not interested. You're a massive mod project. Having a form of automated mailing list should be an easy matter for people of your caliber. No further contact was made with this content creator. Well, it bloody should have been, to say thanks no thanks. They were never cast in any roles, and there was never any discussion of them having a role. Tell them that. This is the furthest their interaction with our team has gone, and given that our project lead is generally the individual who speaks to new voice acting applicants for further demos or other information, and that this content creator apparently doesn't even know who that is, this again speaks to their complete lack of contact with our team. This content creator had no reason to believe that they were cast for any roles in our project, and yet attempted to claim as such. You'd given them no reason to believe that they were not cast for any such roles in your project. Again, communication. Ever heard of it? Next, this content creator claims that the moderator who attacked them, whom they seem to believe is a lead on the Team Fallout 4 New Vegas for some reason, also attempted to shit on them on Twitter. This is despite the fact that the moderator in question was polite the entire time with the content creator, and the Twitter account in question wasn't even a month old, had been deleted before anybody was able to obtain any real information about the account itself, had no followers and was following nobody, and had a username that doesn't match up with any of our moderation staff's actual online presence. Outside of the username which one of our moderators uses solely within Fallout 4 New Vegas community as an inside joke, while we cannot say for certain who created the account being used for this, it is clear that the account was created for the sole purpose of fabricating outrage and creating cause for this content creator to play the victim, whether directly or via proxy. This sounds like Fallout 4 New Vegas is accusing Mantis of creating the account himself. Having known Mantis for some time, I do not believe that that is the sort of thing that he would do. However, what I do believe is that possibly people within the Bethesda Discord saw him and the other account talking about Fallout 4 New Vegas with each other, and then they decided to go and do a little trolling for the purposes of creating outrage, confusion, and possibly a bit of humour for themselves. I think that Fallout 4 New Vegas should be thinking along those lines rather than layering another accusation against Mantis. Ultimately, no proof either way. Now, with these items out of the way, we can cut to the heart of the matter and discuss what happened and why we made the decision that we did. Earlier this year, a major Fallout modding project, unrelated to our own, released after years of anticipation. This unrelated mod released with some extremely questionable content and had a staff member working on the project who had been found to be engaged in the creation of pedophilic content. All of this, especially the latter, was patently unacceptable in our eyes. Our team has never supported content of this kind, and as a collective find it disgusting and would never endorse or condone the creation of this kind of content. Upon the release of that unrelated mod project, coverage of this content and the aforementioned staff member quickly spread, and a significant portion of this was driven by the content creator written about above. I would not say that Mantis made a significant portion of content about the Frontier. He made 2 videos. 3 at the most if you include his live streams where he played the mod. A significant portion of this was driven by the content creator written about above. Yes, press X to disagree on that one. While this unrelated team worked to remove their content and almost immediately kicked out the team member found to be creating paedophilic content, this was ignored amidst the storm of outrage that had already been stoked. Moving on to my own content, I feel that I've done my best to give them fair coverage regarding the changes that they've made to their mod, but we can get more into the Frontier later. This content creator had an existing personal vendetta against this unrelated project. No, I don't believe he did. They seemed to have an existing personal vendetta against him, having been given a role on that team in a voice role. Unfortunately, this content creator ended up being recast due to issues with his line delivery and difficulty contacting them to provide retakes of lines that were not to standard. This content creator's reaction was to lash out in a community related to that unrelated project, calling the staff working on the mod project racists due to a racist remark made by an individual not affiliated with the development team. This unaffiliated individual would be banned for these remarks. I'm uncertain of that, and I'm uncertain of the relevancy, ladies and gentlemen, but I do know for a fact that Mantis will admit to you that he feels that the lines that he provided to the Frontier were not up to their standard. After the unrelated project's team called the content creator out for their actions, they pulled down the post in question and went quiet for a while. Several months later, the content creator then suddenly started posting about characters present in the mod project, attempting to drum up discontent. A member of the unrelated project's team made a comment calling out the content creator for clickbaiting, which resulted in this content creator doubling down on their efforts to attack the mod project, making wild claims that exaggerated aspects of those characters in an attempt to drum up further outrage and discontent. Ladies and gentlemen, as stated, Derral Eves the YouTube formula. The YouTube algorithm does not allow for clickbait. The YouTube algorithm received multiple modifications in 2013, which made the algorithm focus on the amount of time watched, average view duration of a video. The YouTube algorithm does not favour clickbait. Fallout 4 New Vegas, this analysis of the YouTube algorithm has science and technological knowledge on its side. You simply saying, "He's clickbaiting," is absolute and utter bull dust. Again, I feel that you are lying about Mantis in this context, and that, again, this could be layered on top of the defamatory statements made at the top of this Reddit post. It was at this time that the content creators community began to harass and attack the team working on this unrelated project. As stated, people have brains in their heads and do anything that they want. It's not Mantis's fault that someone went and said mean things to the Frontier. If you think that a YouTuber can weaponize an entire community against something, you're an idiot. As stated, YouTubers can barely even round up their audiences to watch their own videos using the YouTube notification and alert system. What makes you think that they could use these systems to wage war against little mod development teams? Big mod development teams. It was at this time that the content creators community began to harass and attack the team working on this unrelated project, despite the mod team attempting to ignore this content creator and making no official statements about the actions of this content creator. As this harassment continued, this content creator adopted the position that they were not responsible for the actions of their community, claiming that they could not control the actions of their community while continuing to stir up discontent and profit off of the resulting views their content received. Ladies and gentlemen, as I've said several times, this is Fallout 4 New Vegas, speaking out of their rectum again. Content creators cannot control the brains of what people do. As a YouTuber myself, I can tell you that I do not have a brain control function in YouTube Studio. I don't even have a beta for the brain control function. This entire sentence is just bulldust. As for profiting off of YouTube, oh no! Someone's making money off of YouTube! It's his job. It is his primary source of income. It's where he makes his money from. It's how he puts food in his mouth. It's how he keeps his lights on. This Reddit thread, as well as not knowing how social interactions between human beings work, do you also not know how economics work? Do you not know how people make money to quite simply live? Do you understand what jobs is? Work. Working. Work stuff. Wages. Ever heard of it? These attacks by this content creator, that's a heck of an accusation you're making, against the mod project continued for months and right up through the project's release, while making hypocritical remarks about the community around that project harassing them in turn, despite their above stance that they weren't responsible for their own actions. This storm of enhanced discontent has continued to the present day, and this content creator continues to profit off of the harassment of these developers to this day, despite their immediate dismissal of the team member in question and their ongoing efforts to fix these issues over the previous few months. Ladies and gentlemen, this entire paragraph has been an absolute and utter lie. Following these events, our team was, to put it mildly, appalled. This content creator had effectively militarized their community and blown a situation up more than it had to be, and resulted in countless individuals being harassed, forced out of modding entirely, and otherwise dealing with abuse from thousands of people who had previously never even heard of their mod project. Worse still, this content creator was taking work created by others for free, fueling hateful discourse around it, profiting off of it the entire time. This is, simply put, an absolutely vile parasitic relationship. Our team decided that action needed to be taken against this, as this wasn't the kind of behaviour we should even condone. And by allowing this content creator access to our community, we had been doing this quite implicitly. The decision was made to ban this content creator from our community. As you can tell by my tone, ladies and gentlemen, I consider these statements along these lines that Mantis is attacking people to be absolutely and utterly naive. They're absolutely the stupidity in the statements that are being made here about him militarizing a community. What, he's taking his secret army and going to war against mod makers. Do you realize how absolutely absurd that sounds? The gullibility and naivety in this paragraph is madness beyond belief. As for the profiting angle, he's a YouTuber. It's his full-time employment. As for the banning them from the community. This is quite odd how throughout this entire post they're talking about unrelated, 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 unrelated. And then suddenly the only thing that they're terming to be related between them is Mantis. And that they have excised him out of their internet existence. They're looking at the world through rose-tinted spectacles here. I do not feel that his actions, when it came to the issues that he had with the Frontier, have any relevance to any other mod project. And to remove someone from a Discord because of something that they did in another Discord, that reeks of stupidity. Obviously, it depends on the action, but we're talking about people arguing on the internet. Now, it's time that we touch on this because we understand there is some confusion from the content creator in question about the nature of their ban and the lack of notice given. Yes, you need to communicate with him. Tell him why you banned him. As this content creator's actions became increasingly apparent, our project leadership discussed the subject as a team. After a fair bit of back and forth, it was decided that this was the best course of action for us to take. When the ban was issued to this content creator, we chose not to inform them. Why? How could you not have seen that something like this was going to happen? Given their long history of profiting off of the exaggeration and manufacture of discontent, citations needed, the other people manufactured the discontent, not Mantis. Oxhorn and his copyright striking. The Frontier with their drug sex lizards. What are you guys trying to hide, Fallout 4 New Vegas? We had no interest in providing them with further ammunition or approaches to attack our team and its members. As such, we left this content creator to figure it out for themselves. Well, it would be very difficult for them to figure it out for themselves if you didn't give them any information to begin with. Again, just tell them. Communication. While this may be seen as unprofessional, yes! Very, very unprofessional. Bad Fallout 4 New Vegas. Bad. We had, and continue to have, no desire to allow this individual to profit off of our team and our work. Does that go for all YouTubers, people who seek to make Let's Plays of your mod when it comes out? Will you similarly be removing and blocking YouTubers from getting access to your mod? While there is of course a healthy ecosystem between modders and content creators, and we continue to offer opportunities to work with one another, this kind of relationship is not healthy. I would say that the relationship of not communicating with people and randomly banning them is also not healthy. These actions only serve to harm projects and force people out of modding, ultimately meaning that less content is available to our communities and stifling the growth of potential new projects. This is parasitism at its most blatant and damaging. You keep saying parasitism. Aren't you the ones that are recreating an entire video game that someone else made inside another video game that someone else made? What's the legal fair use implications of that? Is that above board? Ladies and gentlemen, if anything, that paragraph worries me about the future relationships between modders and YouTube content creators and Twitch streamers. That these toxic mod authors are just going about using terms like blatant parasitism against content creators. That is disgusting language. It should be made abundantly clear. Our team has no issue with criticism, either towards our project or other projects. Members of our team had issues with other projects and have been more than happy to discuss them openly, and we maintain open community channels expressly for the purpose of getting feedback on our work. Just as attacking projects stifles growth and forces people out of modding, an aversion to criticism harms the growth of existing projects and modders, The banning of this content creator had nothing to do with their criticism of any project. The banning was motivated entirely by their parasitic attitude and attempts to milk the outrage they generated around another project. What milking is a video, is having an opinion. Is having an opinion wrong think, according to Fallout 4 New Vegas. As for their statements about criticism, that's alright, I guess. But then they go back into this parasitic rubbish again. Finally, it is critical that we touch on this content creator's disgusting and disingenuous implication that our team consists of paedophiles because we didn't join their bandwagon and engage in the blatant abuse of other modders. We have zero interest in participating in this kind of disgusting self-aggrandizing virtue signalling, nor do we have any interest in helping to fuel this content creator's outrage and provide them with more revenue along the way. Our team has never supported the creation of such content and never will, and find ourselves shocked that it is required that we make a statement to the contrary to prove that we aren't complicit with those who do. This is pure logical fallacy, plain and simple, and we have little interest in playing such games. I'm uncertain if Fallout 4 New Vegas made a statement at the time when the Fallout Frontier controversy was happening. I know that some other mods did. The Fallout Miami mod comes to mind, but I can't really comment much on this paragraph. I do feel that Mantis went a little bit over the top towards the end of his video, but he later made a self-corrective statement on Twitter regarding. As today's events have continued, a familiar pattern has started to emerge. While our team has worked to keep things civil while we prepared this statement, the content creator has again started their claims about our community attacking or raiding theirs and indicating that we are culpable for their actions, despite directly appealing to our community to not do so. We attempted to address this by directly telling this content creator to get in touch with our moderation staff about those who are responsible if they feel there is a connection between them and our project, as we will not abide by this behaviour. However, to date, the content creator has yet to provide a single username. In the meantime, we have seen our team members harassed and attacked by this content creator's supporters, while they have continued to disavow any responsibility for their community's actions. That's not how brains work. That's not how communities work. That's not how social people work. Everybody has their own opinion and will do things. For example, I have my own opinions regarding this matter, and I've chosen to make a video about it. Someone else may have an opinion and decide to go and start posting N-words in Discord servers because that's how their brains work. This has nothing to do with sending people or raiding or attacking or creating secret armies to rise up and take over the universe like the Borg. We recognise that this may not be the update people wish to see. I have no doubt that barely anybody in your community cares, either from our team or about this situation. However, we refuse to be complicit in the actions of somebody who is aiming to actively hurt the modding community at large. That's not a very good shot to take at Mantis. We're talking about a man who is fanatical about Fallout and fanatical about mods. This is a man who could have been a very good ally to have, but instead you've decided to absolutely alienate him and repeatedly call him a parasite. You're just being mean. You know, this man, in his heart, he wants to see these mod projects succeed. He wants to see good things come out of them. And he's being sorely misrepresented by people who seem to think that he hates the modding community and is a parasite and is going about deliberately starting fires to cover them. That couldn't be further from the truth. Fallout 4 New Vegas further goes on to add an edit at the bottom of their post. There seems to be a major point that many folks are missing, and we feel it's important to address now. This content creator was never involved with our voice team, period. We can't and won't pretend to know why they claimed they were. Well, that's because they thought they were, because they provided voice material to you, and you didn't contact them back. So it was Schrodinger's box, Schrodinger's cat. They were either involved or not, but you didn't tell them because you don't communicate. But the simple fact of the matter is that they did not lose their role on the project because they never had a role on the project in the first place, full stop. Aye, alright then, fair enough. In addition, there have been a number of posts made suggesting a connection between our project and the unrelated project we've mentioned in this post. There is no such connection, and there are no team members shared between these two projects. Staff from the other project are present in our community, however. This is not the same as them being a member of our staff. I suppose that's a fair statement to clarify. If you're having issues with people who have criticisms of the Frontier, and they may be giving criticisms towards you regarding, ultimately, in looking at this Reddit post, it boggles my mind as to why it even has to exist. This was ultimately just a little issue inside a Discord server and a couple of posts on Twitter. Yet this statement has been made in the Fallout 4 New Vegas Reddit to however many thousands of people are in their Reddit, and then it was posted to Twitter to however many thousands of people were there. Quite simply, this did not need to be made public at all. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The end? Or, not. Because guess who else made a statement regarding the Frontier? Official announcement. We are offering our support to the Fallout 4 New Vegas project in light of recent drama. They have been supportive of us in our time of need, and we are offering our support back. We abhor the once again disgusting behaviour of TKs-Mantis and his fans. So the Frontier have not only just stated their dislike of Mantis, but his fans, well, his entire fan base, yeah? As for this support, what is this we are looking at? Is this a military call to action? Is this them making their secret army to go after Mantis? The Frontier and the Fallout 4 New Vegas supportive military division about to launch an attack on Mantis's YouTube channel with dislike bombing runs and Discord server invasions? My nose is literally turning up at the smell of the sheer hypocrisy of these people, ladies and gentlemen. But yes, I think today's lesson is communicate with people, tell people that you don't like why you don't like them, and don't just like secret service things all the time. And don't make ludicrous public statements when you don't bloody need to. But yeah, I think that about does it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. I'm out.
Do you know my real name? Do you know some of the things that I have done? Do you know what I would do to change that? Because if you don't, I think it's about time you knew.